And then he overturned, he cancelled the punishment of the men. What was it that Allah said? This is what he said. الرجال قوامون على النساء. That men have something called قوام, over women. بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض. Because of what Allah had given to the one over the other. وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. And because they spend of their wealth, spend it on the women and children. What is Qawwam? Our beloved teacher of blessed memory, Maulana Fadl Rahman Ansari rahimahullah, in his book The Quranic Foundations and Structure of Muslim Society, which we hope inshallah will be taught in this country soon, he explains the word Qawwam. And he says it means that men must maintain women. So if you can't afford to maintain, you cannot marry her. No. You must first be able to maintain before you can marry. Men must maintain women. But he said that Qawwam also means that men had to guard and protect women. And so men are the guardians of women. And because men are the guardians of women, that gave to men a measure of authority, over women. In consequence of which, the verse continued, فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهُ. Good women, righteous women, are qanitat, humble, obedient, and submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to His Messenger sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, and to their husbands or to their guardians. Now that is the problem in today's world. Women have been writing to me after my articles were published in the newspaper, writing to me, questioning, challenging this institution in Islam that the wife must be obedient to her husband. Why, they ask, why can't we just sit together as husband and wife and have a harmonious relationship, no quarrels, no fighting? All the relationship is one of harmony, all the decisions are taken with mutual agreement. I said, fine. In such a marriage, the institution of obedience is there, but you had no need to invoke it. But what about if a situation arises where you have disagreement between husband and wife? At that time, you will have to invoke the institution of obedience, to which they respond, but suppose the man ordered me to do something wrong, to which we have to reply that obedience is obligatory on a wife in all instances other than when it entails disobedience of what has come from Allah and from His Messenger. And plenty things have come from Allah and His Messenger. And so anything that a husband orders which is wrong, you will immediately be able to see the conflict with what has come from Allah and His Messenger. You don't have to obey. فَصَالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهُ. وَلَا تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُ. Now when a wife is disobedient, more than that, rebellious, recalcitrant, when you fear that this rebelliousness on her part, this persistent disobedience on her part, is taking this marriage to the rocks, is taking her on the road to hell itself, then said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you've got to act. The husband has to act. He has to exercise his coercive authority if the marriage is to be saved. The first thing he has to do is to give her a warning. And if that does not resolve the problem, then put her to sleep on a separate bed. And if that does not resolve the problem, then, as a last resort, and only for the purpose of saving the marriage, not for the purpose of punishing her, for the purpose of saving the marriage, which is a laudable thing, then beat her. When the ayah came down, the Prophet ﷺ made haste to explain, to interpret. وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ الْكِتَابِ. He teaches you the book. That if you beat her, you must use something like a toothbrush, miswak. Very clearly, this is not a blow which is intended to inflict an act of brutality. No. Very clearly, this is more of a psychological blow than a physical blow. And the intention of the blow is to wake her up from that spell in which she lives. But it wouldn't work if you've been raising your hand all the time to beat you. If you never raise your hand ever, and for the first time now you raise your hand, then the possibility exists that she might, out of shock, psychological shock, she might wake up and the spell might be broken. And so he said, come back, and he revoked, rescinded, cancelled the punishment for the man. This then is the beginning of the mechanics of marriage in Islam. That a man must maintain his wife. The Messenger of Allah was 25 years of age. He did not get married. We know that he wanted to marry his cousin, the daughter of Abu Talib. And we know that marriage proposal was not accepted by his uncle. Maybe because he was not as yet firmly, economically settled. His uncle did not agree with him. And so he reached the age of 25 and he was not yet married. When the opening came, and he got a chance to lead the caravan of that very rich widow, Khadija radiallahu ta'ala, it was a success. He brought back big profits. And she heard such wonderful things about this man that her heart was touched and her heart was moved. And then she sent Nafisa with a proposal of marriage. And Nafisa came to him and asked him, "O Muhammad, alayhi salatu wasalam, what are your plans for marriage?" "I have no plans." What about if someone were to offer marriage to you and does not need to be maintained? He has her own means. We asked, who could that be? And then she said, Khadija. radiallahu ta'ala, he was courageous to say yes. Because if you were poor and your wife rich, it could create a problem for you. And you are 25 and she is 40, it could create a problem for you. But it is the goodness of his heart to put a good meaning to everything, to hope for the best in everything, not to have a mind that is negative, not to have a mind that is suspicious. I don't trust anyone. Not that kind of man. And so he said yes. And he married her. And she put her wealth at his disposal. And they lived happily together. As soon as a man has the means to maintain a woman, he's under an obligation to marry. He doesn't have the freedom to say, man, me ready yet now. I take it my time. I take it my time. No. He's under an obligation to marry as soon as he has the means to maintain. Why? Because Allah said it. He sent it down in Surah An-Nisa, didn't he? That men have an obligation to maintain women. So if you have the means to maintain her, and you do not marry, you'll have to answer to Allah for that. Because Allah said it in the Quran, I have sent you here to maintain women. I have sent you here to guard and protect women. Are you taking your sweet time? I have sent you here to maintain women. I have sent you here to guard and protect women. Are you taking your sweet time? You'll have to answer for that. So long as she was alive, he never took another wife. Why? Is it because he gave a preference to the institution of monogamy? That a man should have only one wife? And that is why so long as Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha was alive, he never took another wife? Oh, that's false. That is absolute rubbish. That has no foundation whatsoever. The reason why he never took another wife, so long as she was alive, was because it was with her wealth that he was being maintained. Out of respect for that, he did not have wealth of his own. It was her wealth with which he was being maintained. You cannot take another wife in that situation. But when she died, and he inherited of her wealth, and also from the Anfal, the spoils of war, 1/5 of which were for Allah and His Messenger. And the spoils of war started coming in after we had the Hijrah. Then the Messenger of Allah took many wives, because he could afford to maintain those wives. And so a man must labor in order to be able to maintain his wife. But when he marries her, the property and the wealth that he brings into the marriage is his. And the property and the wealth which she brings into the marriage is hers. He has no right to her property. And she has no right to his property.